Hello. So, I just decided to make a video today. Haven't made one for a couple days. Haven't really had much to talk about, but I just went for a little walk twice around the block here. Good for me. And I was thinking about something when I was out on my walk, so I thought I would make a video about it. But first, let me show you this cutie little guy that I have on my shirt today. I don't think he has a name, but the t-shirt says "In the Soup," which is from a BTS content stuff online. And I have my hair in a ponytail today. It's getting quite long. So what I was thinking about when I was on my walk is that a lot of the time in my life, I have ended up being alone in the world. Not just metaphorically, but physically. It's kind of interesting. And ever since I moved here to Kyle, which was last summer, I have been surprised that when I go outside around here, there's hardly anybody out. And I have no idea what this means, what it means in my life, or what it means about the world. It could be that ever since 2020, people just don't go out much. I don't know what it is, but like when we moved here last summer, there's a beautiful swimming pool and park within walking distance of our house here. And it has a nice play area for kids and a big pool. And I went and spent quite a bit of time there last summer because it was hot and it was a good place to go. There was shade in the shade. It was pretty comfortable there, and it was a place for me to go. And sometimes there are smells in this house that bother me that I can't seem to identify or get rid of. So going outside kind of helps me with that. I think maybe that's why I'm experiencing that, is it's pushing me outside sometimes, because otherwise I can be pretty lazy just sitting around inside here. But anyway, so I would go up to the pool. It's this lovely pool. It's free for everybody in the area, and there wouldn't be anybody there. There was hardly anybody there. I mean, there would be a few people, and there were some lifeguards during the summer. But basically, the times I went up there, which were kind of off times, I would have the place entirely to myself. And I just felt kind of baffled by that. It's like people have this beautiful place to go play for free and nobody's using it. And I don't know why. I'm not complaining. I like having the place to myself. I just kind of wonder why. So then today when I'm on my walk, it's a Saturday. People generally off work on Saturdays. It's an entire neighborhood full of houses, full of cars, several cars at each house. And there's nobody out there. I have the streets totally to myself. I mean, there was one guy mowing his lawn. I could hear sounds of people around. There was a car that drove by. But it's just so interesting to me that it feels like a lot of the time I have the world to myself. And I don't know. I mean, in one way I enjoy that. I don't always appreciate, all the noise that people make, or maybe the energy that they bring or whatever. I'm not a super social person. And so, I don't necessarily want to strike up a conversation with everybody out there. I often don't really have an interest in talking to people when I'm out. I'll be friendly enough, but I'm not looking to chitter chatter with people. But I just find it very interesting, and I don't know, is that me? Is that my energy just sending everybody away? Who knows? But I think back to years that I spent with my partner that were like 2003 to 2011, off and on. We used to go traveling in Mexico, and we used to have the world to ourselves there sometimes. We would go out and camp in kind of wilderness areas. And again, there were lots of people around, lots of people in the towns, but we would often go to these places and hike around and just have the place totally to ourselves, which I enjoyed very much. I mean, it was very lovely being out in nature and having it all to ourselves. But I've always just sort of observed that in my life and just kind of wondered what that's about. And I don't know, it seems to me that sometimes we get clues in life about things that years later, maybe even in the afterlife, we figure out, oh, that's what that was about. So I was just thinking about that today. I'm having a brownie that my granddaughter and my son made together. It's pretty yummy, kind of chewy. So I've been taking a whole lot in. I've been watching all sorts of stuff on YouTube. Lots of things about UFOs, UAPs, what's it called? NHIs, non-human identities. I had to look that one up. ETs, what used to be called ETs is now called NHIs. Anyway, I've been just watching all sorts of stuff and feel like I'm getting educated online about what's out there right now about these topics, and just noticing what all is coming out, because Matt and Joy had said back in December that 2025 was going to be a year of disclosure. And you know, I'm not sure where they were getting that information, if it was just from their guides or if it was also probably also from other sources. Who knows where they were getting the information, but it was kind of the first I heard of it. I'm sure other people have been tuned into this stuff maybe for a long time, but I had not been tuned into it. And when they said that, it surprised me, because generally I like Matt's teachings because he doesn't take positions on things. You know, he's really just teaching us about how to be love in the world, and how to meet everyone in the world, and not have judgments about things, and not be on sides. I mean, that's his teaching is really about, you know, not taking sides and just being the peace and the harmony in the world that we can be, and all of that. So it surprised me that they were talking about something so, I don't know, sort of, well, I was going to say down to earth, but it's also about things that are not from the earth. But anyway, that was like my first clue, and I think I would not be paying attention to all this stuff that I'm paying attention to now if I hadn't heard him talk about it first, because he's been the one teacher that I've followed for a very long time, that I trusted, you know, because I felt like I found a depth both in his life, his personal life, and his teaching life that I hadn't found anywhere else. So I really trust him, and I trust the things he talks about and the things he says. So I paid attention because he said that, and I was like, oh, well, I guess we'll see what, you know, if he's right about what there's talking about disclosure. And he has mentioned once or twice before in his teachings about our brothers and sisters in the stars, and that, you know, they're really, that one day when we meet them, it'll just be like old friends, and coming home, and like they've been our long lost family that we haven't seen in a long time, and that sort of thing. But, you know, thinking about it in sort of very, very practical, down to earth terms is different than just having ideas in your head about it, or spiritual ideas or whatever. And that's kind of what he was talking about it happening on a very physical level. So, so, that was kind of like him mentioning it opened me up to those ideas and those possibilities that, I hadn't had any interest in for a long time. But, since then, I've been watching all sorts of things online, and I feel like I'm being guided to the best ones for me, because, there's all sorts of stuff out there, but I feel like, my energy reaches out for the highest and the best for humanity. And so then when information comes to me, I pay attention if it's on that level of, love and peace and respect and all of those qualities that I've been cultivating in myself, because I think that out in the universe it's the same as it is here on Earth. The energies are different, and some are ones that I would want to interact with, and others are ones that I would not want to interact with. So I feel like I've been finding lots of really wonderful high-level energies, loving, compassionate energies, and also just, I don't know, learning lots of stuff. Right now, this is kind of just what I'm studying, and feel like I'm prepping for whatever's coming next in my life. So, where was I going with that? Oh, I'm not sure if I was going anywhere with that. But there was just one other thing that I wanted to share, which was that on Thursday, which was a couple days ago, I did a lot of sleeping. I have days like that where I just feel like I slept the entire day. I was awake for parts of it, but then I would just go back to sleep. I just slept a lot that day. And whenever that happens, I always, kind of have this voice in my head of, oh, what, maybe there's something wrong here. Why am I sleeping so much? I should be doing something. I should be getting something done. So I was kind of feeling that way that day, and I was just sitting quietly and sort of asking, like, why am I sleeping so much? And I do feel like I've been getting answers I had been asking before about why I sleep so much, or why I feel so tired at times. And I really feel like the channelings that I've been listening to from the Arcturian Council just talk about that they are sending us energy every day. And of course, not just them, all sorts of things. The energy is coming through in lots of ways, but it's all, I believe, a coordinated effort from the universe to help us as human beings and to help the earth ascend and go through this process that we're going through, whatever you want to call it, evolution, ascension. People have different names for it and think of it in different ways. But I'm just aware that, yes, there really is something going on right now. It's very big. It's global. It's for all of humanity. This is what I came here for. This is what I came to be part of. And in order for these things to happen the way they need to happen, there is a lot of energy coming to us, a lot of love and energy that is helping our bodies to evolve and change, that is helping our minds, our hearts, and the whole world, everything, to move forward and to shift into new things and a new world, basically. So yeah, it's like I realize, okay, that's why, this energy is coming into my body. It's changing me. It's changing my cells. It's changing my organs. It's changing my vibration. It's changing my mind. All of it is changing and shifting and growing and evolving and sloughing off the old and bringing in the new and all of this. So yes, that is making me tired. It is making me weak sometimes, sleeping sometimes more. For many people, it's causing sleep disturbances, which I don't tend to have as much now, but I did for a while. It's not as much of a problem for me to not be able to sleep as it is for other people, because I basically have an open schedule where it doesn't matter whether I don't need to get my sleep to be able to do something the next day, because I have arranged my schedule to where it's wide open, and if I need to sleep, I can sleep, and if I'm awake, I can do things. So I have been spending many years arranging my life in such a way that I have the availability to receive these energies. But there have been times when I just didn't necessarily feel like I knew what was going on, but now I feel like I have more of a sense of, yes, this really is happening, and it really does have a physical effect on my body, as well as having an effect on all the different parts of my being. So Thursday, when I was sleeping so much, and I was just sort of asking about it, and what came to me was just a message that said, remember when you were pregnant and there were days when you felt like you weren't accomplishing anything, but you knew that your body was working very hard, even though you weren't able to do very much. It's because you were bringing forth new life. And the same is happening here. My body, my being, is working very hard internally because it's bringing forth new life. And I just need to be patient and allow that to happen, and know that in the same way that when I was pregnant, my body was working very hard creating a baby, that there would come a time when that baby would be born, and then my life would go forward with that baby, and there would be many things that I would be able to do and need to do when that happened. So that just felt like a reassuring thought, that yes, there's lots going on internally these days, and even though I'm getting lots of messages talking about my life changing and opening up, and lots of new things coming into it this year, it's not, dropping my phone, it's not quite time for those things to happen yet. And I just need to take the time right now to allow whatever preparation needs to happen inside me for these things to occur. And when it's time, they will happen.